How would it be if you had a powerful, potent way of enhancing your health? If you had the means to improve your energy levels, to reduce stress or inflammation, or from the comfort of your own home? How would it be if you could help prevent conditions or illnesses in family members, or treat those day-to-day conditions that might pop up, be it a headache or a cold or a cough, without having to go to the doctor? And how would it be if you had a means to better your health without the need for intervention, without the need for conventional medicine or drugs? How would it be if you had tools at home, a kind of do-it-yourself first aid kit, if you liked, that enabled you to both detox things your body didn't need, to build up and to rejuvenate your health, your cells, your energy levels? How would it be if you could do all this yourself? Well, these are some of the things that bioresonance enables us to do. Bioresonance has amazing potential. It's powerful, it's potent, and what I love about it is that it's completely harmless and side effect free. So I'd like to spend some time introducing you to some bioresonance concepts and some bioresonance devices. This is grown out of roughly 35 years of working as an alternative health practitioner at the interface of mind and body, energy and emotions, and how these interrelate to create our health as we experience it. My name's Delia Rosenboom, and I've found that bioresonance plays an absolutely vital part at this interface of health on all levels. So I'm going to show you some slides and introduce you to some ideas around bioresonance. So here we begin. We begin with a quote which I love from Nikola Tesla, which simply says, if you want to discover the secrets of the universe, then think in terms of energy, frequency and vibration. Now, if we put this into the scope of health, if we want to discover the secrets of improving our health and staying healthy, we could then say, think in terms of energy, frequency and vibration, which is exactly what bioresonance offers. So what is bioresonance? Let's think about this a little. It's been well researched and documented that each part of our body, each healthy organ, has its own unique frequency of electromagnetic oscillations. And here we have a representation of a body that's nice and healthy, and there's some nice strong frequencies being emitted from some of the organs. But of course, as we go through life, we become stressed, we become tired, we pick up illnesses, we unknowingly pick up pathogens, viruses, parasites, heavy metals, molds, yeasts, etc. And all these sorts of things interfere with the electromagnetic oscillations of our organs and create a weakening of these oscillations, which in turn leads to a weakening of our organs. And of course, this is when some of us might begin to experience symptoms. We might have a headache, we might have a skin rash, we might feel below par or whatever. So many of us then will go off to the doctor. And of course, most ordinary doctors will prescribe drugs of some form or other. And although there's, of course, a place and a time for medicines, for drugs, as a doctor once said to me, there's no such thing as an effective medication without a side effect. So any drugs that we take leave a trace in the body. They may have a side effect. They may add to the toxic load in our liver. There's going to be something, some footprint that they leave. And in time, of course, these footprints accumulate. So wouldn't it be great if we had another option, an option that didn't have side effects or lead to extra toxins in the body? Well, this is where bioresonance comes in. It's been found that a low pulsating electromagnetic field produces the effect of stimulating cells, of causing a chain of processes that leads to the improvement of health, completely free from side effects. Now, you might be thinking, well, how does this work? How can a frequency bring about better health? So here's a little illustration. You may be familiar with this from perhaps physics lessons at school. if I were to have 2 tuning forks and I were to hold them in the air, and I took one tuning fork and I tinged it against something so that it began to sound ding, but I didn't do that to the second tuning fork. As the first tuning fork resonates, those vibrations would travel over and meet the second tuning fork, and the second tuning fork would be affected by those. If you like, the stronger resonance of the first fork would affect the weaker or non-existent movement resonance of the second fork. And the second fork would begin to join in. It would begin to match the resonance of the one that had been sounded. And you end up with 2 tuning forks both sounding. And this is much how bioresonance works. It involves this matching of frequencies. Whatever the stronger frequency is will always influence the weaker frequency and begin to encourage it to join in, to match it, in doing so becoming stronger and more vibrant. So over the years, there have been many doctors and scientists who have made explorations into bioresonance and come up with all sorts of devices and machines for both testing people and for treating people using this business of matching frequencies. And here are a couple of those people you may have heard of: Dr. Reinhard Voll, Dr. Helmut Schimmel. I believe the first investigations into using electromagnetic frequencies to improve health began in the mid-1800s, so it's certainly been around quite some time. Now, whilst people like Voll and Schimmel have developed their own devices, there's a company that I've become very involved with and very impressed by called Deta Elis Holding, who more recently, over the last few decades, have been developing a series of bioresonance devices. Here's one of the directors, Vasilis, of the company. Lovely guy. And one of the things I love about this company, and one of the reasons I've become involved with them, is that they have this very lovely basis of operation. They believe in a totally holistic approach to health. And their aim is to help patients, people worldwide, better their health by not just treating symptoms of ill health, but by diving deeper to get to the root cause and to find ways of treating that root cause without creating any side effects. And over the many years of operation, this company has developed a series of bioresonance devices. And what I love about these initial 3 devices is that they are built upon a 3-pronged approach to health. So many approaches to health involve maybe detoxing, or involve kind of doing things to build up the system and to strengthen, or involve balancing or energizing. But this company have this foundation 3-pronged approach, which says, well, actually, first we need to make sure our cells have enough energy, that we are charged up energetically enough that we do have the energy to detox or to strengthen and improve our cellular functioning. Not only that, but we need to have a balance between mind and body, because if our mind is busy telling us that life's difficult and we're a victim to our illness and that nothing good ever happens, of course that will manifest physically and create a quality of ill health. So we need to energize and balance our psycho-emotional life before we can begin to approach other aspects of improving health. They also say, well, before we can, let's say, grow beautiful flowers in the garden, we first need to pull out the weeds. We need to spring clean and eliminate toxins. And whether those are household toxins or parasites or worms or heavy metals or yeasts or mold or fungi or anything else that isn't really designed to be there, that isn't helpful to have in the body, we need to detox it. We need to eliminate it, because we're never going to grow those metaphorical beautiful flowers if they're choked up with weeds. And the third part of this 3-pronged approach is to then be able to rejuvenate to restore, to recalibrate, to re-strengthen our cells and our organs. And of course, as with the gardening analogy, once we've pulled out the weeds, we're in a much better position to grow those beautiful flowers and for them to thrive. So this company, Deta Elis, has developed these 3 little mini devices. And if I hold one up, you can see how big they are against my hand. So they're really quite small. These are all bioresonance devices working with slightly different types of frequencies. And they work in conjunction with each other to bring about these 3 different territories of health improvement, which together have such a powerful, potent effect. For those who know about frequencies, the device, which is called the energy device, that energizes our cells, protects them from harm, and balances the relationship between the mind and body, that works with floating frequencies. The detoxing device works with square frequencies, and the rejuvenation recalibration device works with harmonic frequencies. And these are all the frequencies that we already have in the body, so there's no harmful frequencies, harmful radiation that will have an adverse effect. These are all frequencies the body knows. So I'd like to just briefly introduce these 3 devices and show you some aspects of what they can do. So the energy device is what I personally think of as the foundation stone, the foundation device, because as I just mentioned, it plays a really crucial role in filling up our cells with energy. So many of us have cells that are a bit like buckets with holes in the bottom. We're constantly filling them up with water, or trying to, but that water's leaking out of the bottom and just leaves us constantly a bit depleted. So this energy device metaphorically bungs up the holes and enables our cells to refill with energy and thrive with the energy that's there. It has 8 programs. One of them is this energizing program. It also has programs to harmonize mind and body by removing what we might think of as psychotoxins, all those negative beliefs and negative thoughts and mindsets that manifest as imbalances physically. It also has programs to protect our cells against radiation and the harmful effects of radiation. And it enables the correct polarity to be created within our cells. So as our cells receive the energy that's rightfully theirs and become recharged with the help of this energy machine, energy device, one of the things that's happening is that the floating frequencies enable the cell to maintain its optimal electrical voltage. When our system is weakened, when we're ill, that electrical voltage can drop down to 40 to 50 millivolts. But we really want those millivolts to be around 70 to 110. So this machine, this little device, will enable that to happen. So the cells are working with optimal energy at the optimal voltage. And there's an interesting little story about that I'd like to share. This is about some research that I believe was done quite recently. I'm not sure whether this has yet been published, whether it's out there to be found, but I'm told it will be soon if it's not already. This was some research done in Russia with the emergency services, whereby when the emergency services were called out to a stroke patient or a heart attack patient, one of these little energy devices was placed on the patient as they were taken in the ambulance back to hospital. And I believe this research project happened over around 6 months, and that the result was that there was an 80% increase in survival rates in those patients who had the energy device on them whilst in transit to hospital. So that's really quite a staggering figure and begins to illustrate quite how potent this little energy device can be. Personally, I've had a lot of success with it when people are recovering from corona or an illness or surgery or a virus that might have left them feeling a bit lethargic, a bit just rubbishy. The energy program has really helped them bounce back. And this was my experience when I had COVID some time ago, that it just helped me bounce out of this awful sludgy lethargy into a sense of strength and good health in a very short space of time. So I just wanted to mention some of the other programs that are included on this device, We have a program for protecting ourselves from the harmful effects of radiation, whether that's Wi-Fi or 5G or mobile phone radiation or electrosmog from household appliances or anything else. This program will protect your cells from that radiation, and interestingly will also protect you from the effects of other people's energy. So if you're a practitioner working with clients and you're very sensitive to picking up on their energy, or if when you go out into the city, you're affected by all the people and the radiation, etc. This is a really great program to play to keep you in your own energy system, feeling sane, feeling grounded, feeling strong. There's a program to harmonise the energy flow between your organs to bring about better health. There's a program called Harmony that plays a huge part in de-stressing the system, removing chronic stress, balancing and harmonising mind and body together. There's a program for harmonising relationships with others, for harmonising your relationship to your body weight, your relationship to food. There's a program for creating a more positive, abundant mindset. And there's a program for protecting the DNA of our cells from the effects of radiation. And of course, there's more detail that can be given here, but this is a very brief overview. Now, one of the things that's quite a danger for many of us at the moment is this growing sense of 3G being installed in different countries, in different areas. So again, just coming back to the protection program, I'd like to show you this video, takes around a minute, just showing the effects of the protection program on this device, on Wi-Fi. So this is a little tablet here emitting Wi-Fi. And here we've got a device to read the levels of radiation being emitted. And there's a figure down here, which you'll see rising up to at times above 1,000. But when the energy device comes in, and you'll see it coming in and being placed on the tablet, if you watch carefully, this figure will drop to 0. So I'm just going to play this little video. Ignore the talking. There's the device, and you can see it's dropped down to 0. Then it gets taken away, and you can see the numbers go right up high into the 900s and over 1,000. Again, this is the radiation being measured. In a moment, that device is going to come back again. So just be patient for another moment. Here we go. And then the number goes down to 0 again. So this is showing this little energy device and the way it can shield from radiation. Okay, so we're just going to move on now from the energy device, the foundation device, to begin looking at some of the other possibilities with bioresonance. Many of you will have heard of Dr. Royal Raymond Rife, wonderful name, who many people believe to be the founder of bioresonance. He was one of many who did a lot of research into bioresonance. He's often known for developing this amazing microscope here that enabled him to see pathogens at hugely magnified degrees. And one of the things that he discovered was that not only does every organ in our body have its own resonant frequency, but that each pathogenic microorganism also has its own resonant frequency. So a parasite, a worm, a virus, etc., will all have its own frequency. And he discovered that those pathogens, which are the things obviously we don't want so much in our body because they interfere with our good health, could be destroyed through playing the very same frequency, their own frequency effectively, back into them at a slightly amplified rate. And not only that, he discovered that the surrounding healthy tissue, the tissue of the body, wasn't affected, which is a wonderful, massive breakthrough to have, really. What we're saying here, what he discovered, was a little bit like if you've ever seen or witnessed someone like an opera singer singing powerfully a note, and as a result, you've seen a glass shatter. Glass has its own frequency. And if someone were to sing the same frequency as a piece of glass? Well, if I were to sing it, probably nothing would happen. But if an opera singer came in and sang that frequency, which would obviously be a lot more powerful than if I were to sing it, the effect might be that the glass shatters. And this is the principle here, that if you play the frequency of a pathogen back into it at a slightly amplified strength, it will give up the ghost and die. So we have a little machine. Deta Elis has created a machine called the Deta AP. AP means anti-parasite, anti-parasitic. And this works with square frequencies, and it contains 2,500 different programs to destroy and eliminate all manner of microorganisms. So this is an amazing tool to have. If you want to get rid of a cold, if you want to get rid of a parasite, if you want to get rid of anything that doesn't belong to you, you can use this little device. Again, it's the same size as the other one, fits within your hand very easily, to rid yourself of whatever's not needed without any side effects. Here are just a few of the programs that are on there. You can see they have names like anti-cold and anti-flu and no bacteria, no fungi. There's all sorts of things that it can detox. These are just a few of them. And it also has many very comprehensive programs that are called automatic programs, which are combinations of several shorter programs strung together, so that all sorts of different things can be eliminated by running one program. Now, one of the things that's so important about this detoxing device is that as we go through life, toxins begin to accumulate in the liver, and at some point when the liver can't deal with them all so effectively, they begin to spill over into the spaces between our cells, into a space called the ECM, which stands for extracellular matrix. And as these spaces between our cells get congested and bunged up with toxins, then our cells can't function so well, because of course, through that very same space, cells need to receive oxygen and nutrients from the blood, and they need to be able to excrete their waste products. So if that space is getting bunged up with toxins, a bit like a Piccadilly circus at rush hour, no cars can drive through if there's nose-to-nose traffic causing congestion. So the effect is that our cells literally become starved. They become starved of the nutrients, the oxygens they need. They become poisoned by the waste products they can't efficiently excrete. So it's really important that we clean out this extracellular matrix space. And this, of course, is one of the things that this detoxing device, the AP, does. And it works in a slightly different way to the energy device that I was talking about earlier. The way their frequencies are organized is a little bit like the way you might have a hammer if you're banging in a nail, and you might go bang, 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 until eventually the nail is banged down as far as it needs to go. The frequencies on this device work a bit like the hammer, just powerfully hitting the nail on the head, sending those frequencies into the pathogens, targeting them until they gradually give up the ghost and die. So it's quite a powerfully working device, but as said, has no side effects. So I'd like to show you some little single cell organelles under the influence of the AP. We're going to see them fully alive, and then we're going to see them dying and actually kind of exploding as they receive their own frequencies back into them. So let's just have a look at this. I can get it going. Here we go. So these are paramycium, little single cell organelles. You can see they're magnified greatly so we can see them. And this video, which is again a minute and a half or so long, is in real time. So you're seeing what happens to these little wrigglers in real time. And you can see they're kind of jiggling around at the moment. But what we can't see is that the AP is playing their own frequency back into them. And as they receive that frequency, look what's happening up here and here. This one's spilling its guts, as is this one. They're sort of exploding. This one's beginning to do something. This one's beginning to spill its innards. This one as well now. And now this one. So you can see they're very much under the influence of their own frequency. This one's now giving up the ghost up here. Less wriggling going on, still a couple moving around. So remember, this is in real time. Gives a sense of how powerful these frequencies are. This one's now giving up, and this one as well. They're both beginning to explode. And now, here we go. The slide is being moved around, looking for any more signs of life. And here's another that's still alive. You can see it's beginning to roll a bit, beginning to slow down a bit as the frequencies influence it. And here we go, it's beginning to become destroyed, beginning to spill its guts, as it were. Now, obviously, as pathogens are destroyed and broken down, you've got the remnants of them. So very cleverly with this AP device, the programs are arranged so that not only are the pathogens killed, but their waste products are broken down and then flushed out through the drainage pathways of the body, so that you're not left with kind of litter in your internal dustbin to process. It is all destroyed and then eliminated. So there have been a lot of clinical trials done with these devices, and in the case of the AP device, many clinical trials have been done with thousands of patients, and these are the sorts of results that they've come up with. Here are some results for hepatitis. 90% eradication rate was reported. Helicobacter pylori, there was a 92% eradication rate, and with parasites, 96% eradication rate reported, which is staggeringly high, all through the use of frequencies, which is wonderful. So on that note, here's a few before and after pictures, again using this same AP device. You can see here's a slide showing staphylococcus cells, and you can see they're in purple, they're quite big. And then after just 2 usages of the staphylococcus program on the AP, you can see there's far fewer cells, and if the device was going to be used continuously, these would gradually disappear. Here we've got listeria. Again, you can see before and after, very big change there, just after 2 activations. Here we've got E. coli, lots of cells here, lots of very complete little lines. Here the lines are destroyed, the cellular integrity is completely gone. So that leads me on to corona, because of course the last few years we've been under the influence of COVID and the coronavirus. And so into these devices have been built programs to deal with corona. The AP has antivirus, anti-corona programs to help both prevent with catching corona, and also if you do catch it, to help with recovery and restoration afterwards, because of course if you've had corona, as with any let's say not all viruses, but with many viruses and many illnesses generally, if you've been ill for a while, your organs can be left a little bit depleted, a little bit below par. With COVID, it's been noted that certain organs are quite often left a little bit damaged or below par. And so alongside this AP device, which is so much about detoxing, there is a third device which is being developed to help recalibrate, rejuvenate and restore the healthy functioning of our organs and our body systems. So this is particularly useful if you have had corona, but of course it's invaluable for most of us. Most of us will have some organs or some cells that are working a bit below par, or have had to compensate due to times of stress or illness, etc. So the third device is the one that will play the frequencies of our organs back into us. So here we have a heart, and you might be interested to know that the healthy frequency of the heart is 7.83 hertz. So if with this third device, which is called the rhythm device, rhythm, because it calibrates the healthy rhythms, were to play 7.83 hertz back into a person's body, the heart would go, oh, that's my frequency, I recognize that. And it would gradually start to join in. It would be kind of bump started, if you like, back into healthy functioning. And of course, that can happen with any organ in the body. So the principle, as we saw earlier, is that all organs have their own healthy frequency, that if we become ill or stressed or tired, those frequencies get interfered with and our organs become depleted, the frequencies become weaker. But if we take this Deta rhythm device, whose job it is to play the many, many frequencies of our healthy organs back into us, the body, like that tuning fork I was talking about, begins to pick up and resonate with those organs and returns to strong health here. So this is the work of the rhythm device. Again, it has roughly 2,500 programs within it to be used to bring about stronger health. Again, the work that it does is free of side effects. And again, in addition to many, many, many single programs working on particular parts of the body, there are automatic programs which are particularly useful to work with if you're a lay person introduced to these, working with these for the first time, because you may not know exactly what does need building up. You might just know that you feel a bit off kilter. So there's programs like this one called Health. There's another one called Healthy Day that are particularly useful to work with in the beginning to bring about general balance and boosting, if you like, in many of our main body systems. And the way this device works is a little bit like, at least I could liken it to, children on swings in the playground. Now, what I mean by that is, if you've taken a child to the playground swings and they've sat on a swing, initially they're not going anywhere. It's a bit like an organ that's become a bit weakened. It's kind of not got the energy to work optimally. So the child's sitting there on the swing and you might need to come and give it a little push. And as you give it a push, there's a little bit of movement. The swing swings and then it comes back. And you give it another little push and it begins to build up momentum. And you give it another little push and it builds up a bit more momentum. And gradually, as you push, and then there's this pause while the child on the swing moves of its own accord. And gradually a stronger and stronger momentum is built up. And at some point, you just need to give a little top-up push. And at some point, the child on the swing realizes that they can keep that momentum going themselves, maybe by leaning back a bit or lifting their feet a bit. And the work of the rhythm device, unlike the AP that's more like a hammer going bum, 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 this is like the gentle push, just reminding, adding a bit of momentum, saying you can do it, you remember this. And in time, the organ manages to swing itself, as it were. So it's a kind of gentle but potent effect. So I've mentioned these three devices all working together to bring about health mentally, physically, energetically. And in the ideal world, I'd love everybody to have these three devices because there's so much we could do with them. But of course, not everybody does have all of them. But if you have all of them, or if you have even just one or two of them, there's a lot you can do with them. Now, one option is to work with a program like this, a set of programs like this. This is a recommended protocol for people who can't go and see a bioresonance doctor and have a scan and get a tailor-made program made for them. This protocol is used throughout the world for people who want to improve their health. They want to detox the general things that need detoxing. They want to build up and balance the basic healthy functioning of themselves, and they want to harmonize their energy. And And this is a program that's on my website for download. So not a program, a protocol for people to work with. And it tells you which device to use, when and for how long, spanning over 4 months. It might be that you have a particular issue that you want to address, maybe to do with your digestion, maybe to do with your heart and circulation, maybe to do with your joints or your immune system. And in a similar way, there have been protocols made by Deta Elis to improve each of these different aspects of our health. So if you had an issue with an allergy or with your heart and circulation, another option, if you couldn't work with a bioresonance doctor, would be to download again one of these. These are all on my website. Again, they're protocols that span 3 or 4 months, and you could use the devices to better your health in that way. Of course, you can also use them for day-to-day happenings. If you have a cold, if you have a headache, if you have a tummy ache, etc., you can use the devices ongoingly to work with whatever pops up. So this is a little bit about these 3 mini devices. What I haven't said about them is that whilst you can work with them as a layperson and maybe work with some of these protocols, there's also the possibility of coming and having a medically diagnostic bioresonance scan. And I organise one of the leading experts in this field to come over every roughly 3 months to the south of England to give these scans. And then depending on what shows up, because it will show in great detail your state of health and whatever pathogens are that you may have in your body, he can then tailor make you your own unique programs for those 3 mini, or for 2 of those mini devices that you can work with. And then over a number of months, you can come back and have those programs tweaked and deepened so that you really get to the root cause of whatever health condition you may have and begin to change it and flourish and thrive. Now, for some people, they might not want to work with 2 or 3 devices, or they may not know what the pathogens are. They may not be able to have a scan. They might want something very simple to work with. Not that the mini devices aren't simple, but there are many options and ways of using them. So another option, which I want to briefly mention, is this fantastic device, the BRT, which means Bioresonance Therapy. And this doesn't have lots of programs. It works in a completely different way, using something called endogenous bioresonance therapy. And it has 1 program. And this program lasts 20 minutes and involves holding on to 2 little metal cylinders and having your feet on 2 metal plates. And what this machine does is it reads your body. It spends 20 minutes reading your body, looking for anything that shouldn't be there, seeking out any pathogenic microorganisms, any abnormal frequencies that are there as a result of those microorganisms. And it reverses them, it turns them upside down, which has the effect of cancelling them out, scrambling them and cancelling them out so they can't continue doing whatever they're doing. So it's a very simple, very clever process. And one of the effects of that is that inflammation is hugely reduced and immunity is increased. So by cancelling out the disharmonic frequencies that don't belong to your body, you have this immune boosting, inflammation reducing, and strengthening of our healthy frequencies as well. So these are some of the effects of the BRT. I love working with this myself. I found that it very quickly, for me, stops any bugs. If I feel that anything's beginning to happen, I might be going to get something, and I give myself a session on the BRT, it immediately disappears. This also plays a huge part in de-stressing the system and bringing about a more positive mindset. So many people, when they've had a session on this, will say, oh, I feel lighter, I feel calmer, I feel clearer mentally. And yes, if anything is beginning to brew, with a bit of luck, it will cancel that out. Obviously, with any of these devices, there's no 100% guarantees. I can't say and it would be irresponsible of me to say this will cure that, etc. I'm not saying that. It will be different for everyone. But this is what these devices are designed to do. And in my experience, they work brilliantly well. I've had times when I've been around many people who have been ill with either COVID or other viruses. I've been on aeroplanes with people coughing and spluttering, and I haven't picked anything up. Using the BRT as a prevention against bad health is fantastic. You can use this a couple of times a week to just keep cancelling out anything that you may have picked up in the body. So again, working preventatively. Or if you are ill or you feel you're getting ill, you can use it for more acute conditions, maybe use it every day in an acute condition. So there's lots you can do with this. Very powerful, very potent effects. And of course, with any of these devices, I'm very happy to talk more and give more information. This is really just a very brief introduction. So the question many people ask is, do these things work? Do these devices actually work? Well, that's for the individual to decide. But there has been much research into these devices over far more now than 20 years. They have patents in over 73 countries. They've been certified by the Ministry of Health in Russia and in Israel for the use. In fact, they're used in clinics and hospitals, I believe, over there. They've won many awards. They have the CE mark from Germany, where they're now manufactured. And really, in answer to do they work, it's good to ask the people who have been using them. Now, obviously, we're not asking them right now because I'm showing you slides, but here are a few slides of people who have worked with these devices and really changed their health. So here's a little boy who worked with the AP device, the detoxing device, from a young age. He had terrible eczema. Now, in this country, if you had eczema and you went to the doctor, they'd probably give you steroid creams or protection barrier creams. They probably wouldn't send you for a test to see if you had Giardia or Staphylococcus or some other microorganism. But having a medically diagnostic bioresonance scan revealed that the root cause of this little boy's eczema was Giardia, Staphylococcus and Streptococcus. So he worked with the AP device and over the span of a year, changed his health from being really very affected by the eczema to here being clear and completely well again. Here's somebody with herpes. You can see the very uncomfortable looking skin up here. And then again, after working with these devices, clear, healthy skin. This, I believe, was a child who had some immune system crash or some issue with the immune system. And one of the effects of that was this uncomfortable looking pussy condition on the feet. Again, working with the devices, not sure how long it took, but you can see a return to good health and healing the skin here. This is someone with prostatitis. A little bit confusing to know what we're looking at, but if you look at the volume here that's measured, we can see that there's a reduction of a third here. I don't know whether this was the end of treatment or whether it was just a part way through. I suspect that treatment would be continuing using the AP device, and with a bit of luck, this figure went down. But these are the slides I have showing a third reduction in volume. Psoriasis, again, very painful looking skin here. And then afterwards, completely clear and clean and comfortable. And then here is somebody who had an inoperable brain tumour. You can see it here. And after working with the devices, it took 1.5 years, but you can see it's gone there. A colleague of mine who gave me these pictures told me that the hospital staff were quite miffed about where it had gone. Been lots of work into diabetes, working with these devices. And there have been many 3-stage clinical trials. I believe over 170 3-stage clinical trials showing the effectivity of these devices. There have been many certificates awarded for their safety and good functioning. And so having these little devices here not only gives us a really effective way of changing energy levels and health, but also acts as a kind of portable family DIY kit, or family doctor, if you like. It gives us, especially if you do have a family and you have kids who might wake up ill, or a husband or a wife who wakes up feeling under the weather, it gives us an immediate means to treat an awful lot of everyday challenges, difficulties, be they mental, emotional or physical. And as I said a few times now, not only are they super effective, but there's just no side effects. Even if you play the wrong program you don't really need, it won't do you any harm. So a very safe way of working. And having been working with these myself, on myself and with my family and with relatives, I can really recommend their effectivity. So moving on from these devices, I just wanted to mention a couple of the supporting products that Deta Elis Holding make, because not everybody has the patience or has the funding to invest in these bioresonance devices, and yet that same person may want to have some support, some extra help to heal or rebalance themselves. So another option, which is a slightly cheaper option, and I think one of their latest products that they've researched and developed is something called the DeMatrix pendants. And there are 8 of them. There's now 10, although I've only got pictures of 8 of them because 2 have only just come out. These are little pendants that, let's see, here we go, that you wear around your neck, under your clothes, against your skin. They're the size of a sort of 50p piece, roughly. And these contain a combination of 5 different potent healing modalities, let's say, if we go back to this one, to support the body in rehabilitating after a viral infection, to strengthen the body against catching corona or other viruses, to support the body to detox poisons and vaccine toxins. The detox V is for vaccine, to help support female health, reproductive organs, menstrual cycle, etc., male health, to help support the heart and circulation, to help support the kidneys or to support the liver. And the 2 new ones are, there's one to support the stomach and upper digestive system, and one to support and nourish joints, the spine and other joints. And these consist of this combination of 5 different inputs. One is homeopathic preparations that help with the restorative effect on the body. Then we have herbal preparations which are carefully chosen and are housed within the outer casing to help restore and heal. Then we have inverted homeopathic nosodes, which have an anti-parasitic effect. And then this is where the bioresonance devices come in. Depending on which DeMatrix pendant you're wearing, the corresponding appropriate frequencies from the AP, the detoxing device, and the restorative rhythm device will be programmed in. And then lastly, the outer casing has a combination of these sacred geometry patterns which hugely enhance the healing properties. Oh, whoops. So these are a simple and effective way of supporting your body to heal and to do well by simply wearing something around your neck. You can wear up to 2 at the same time, and you can wear them in the day or the night. They just need to be against your skin. So this is one of their support products. Another support product, which I can't recommend enough, is the DeAqua water bottle. I've got one here. Let's just hold that up. Obviously, when people are working with the bioresonance devices and flushing out, destroying all those toxins and pathogens, it's important to help the detoxing process, that the body has enough fluid. Really important to drink lots of water. So this DeAqua bottle has been developed partly to support the use of the bioresonance devices in helping to detox the body and also helping to energize the body, because a lot of people will have been living with a compromised body for years or even decades, and they may need some help rebalancing and re-energizing. But this is also a fantastic standalone product to use with or without the bioresonance devices. It's a powerful little device that enables you to hydrogenate water or to ozonate water, and also enables you to inhale, to nebulize, to breathe in pure molecular hydrogen. Now, just very briefly, you can watch whole other talks of me talking about this in more depth, but very briefly, molecular hydrogen not only goes to the heart of our mitochondria and helps feed and energize our cells, but it's a very powerful antioxidant. And all of us, most of the time, are subject to free radicals. And free radicals in the body create cellular degeneration. They create the aging process. They create oxidative stress. And antioxidants attach to the free radicals and help remove the free radicals. They eliminate them so that instead of the free radicals attacking healthy cells, they're eliminated. So that means the aging process is slowed down, at least our cellular degenerative process is slowed down, and our regenerative process is sped up. So the hydrogen enables an extra regeneration and a slowing of the degeneration. It also helps with the detoxification process. It helps energize the system. And one of the other things that, and there's many things that hydrogen is proven to do to benefit us, but one of the potent aspects is that it's neuroprotective. It feeds the brain and the neural tissue. So if you have neural damage, or if you're susceptible, you're prone to the possibility of neurological damage or degeneration, the hydrogen will really help feed and nourish your brain. For me, when I had corona all that time ago, and I was left feeling really lethargic and brain foggy, when I started drinking hydrogen water, it felt as if someone had switched a light bulb on in my brain, and there was a kind of bing effect as I started drinking this, and my mind just cleared, my brain cleared. I could start focusing and concentrating, and sort of felt happy again, rather than feeling kind of sludgy and foggy and horrible mentally. So there's many ways in which hydrogen feeds the system, and I thoroughly recommend it. This bottle has the possibility of hydrogenating water for 5 minutes or for 10 minutes. So if you've had a workout and you're quite tired, or you're feeling a bit below par, you could have a 10-minute session. All you have to do is press this button. I'm going to press it twice for 5 minutes. And let's see, I'll get myself out of there. Can you see there's a column of bubbles rising up there? Let's put it more in front. I have to get myself out of there. Well, I may or may not be able to see, there's a column of bubbles rising up the middle there. Anyway, that's hydrogenating the water. There's also an attachment here that turns the hydrogenator into a nebulizer, so you can breathe in pure hydrogen, which is fantastic, again, if you're feeling tired or brain foggy. Or if you feel as if you're beginning to catch something and you're beginning to feel symptoms in your throat or your mucous membranes, the hydrogen will help clean and nourish those respiratory mucous membranes in the hope of vanishing whatever is beginning to happen. But the other thing that's wonderful is you can use this bottle to make ozone water, and ozone has antiviral, antifungal, antibacterial, antibiotic, antiseptic properties. So it's fantastic if you want to wash your fruit and vegetables, if you want to clean your kitchen work surfaces, if you want to clean your toothbrush head, if you want to gargle to eliminate bacteria in your mouth or throat, if you want to soak your feet, if you've got a kind of fungal condition in your feet, it can be incredibly useful. So I realised I was talking without moving the slides, but I mentioned the effects of free radicals, how they're eliminated. Molecular hydrogens, tiny enough to penetrate into the mitochondria of our cells. Here are some of the amazing benefits. Been over 340 research projects done into molecular hydrogen. In fact, I heard a webinar last week that said there've been over 1,000 research studies done. Enhances immunity, I quite often have people feeding back to me that they've had skin conditions that have improved, which is interesting. Here's somebody just showing how to use this bottle with an attachment to breathe in the hydrogen to help improve the condition of the brain. And here we have the ozone with its wonderful antiseptic properties. And lastly, moving on from the DeAqua water bottle, which I can't recommend enough, the last supporting products are, we have actually 6, although only 4 are shown here. Delixias, they're called. They're like herbal tonics made of organic, herby, fruity juices and roots and berries, etc. To again just support the body in the process of bettering itself, of improving health. So we have one to help the detox process, one to help build energy, one to help balance acid alkaline balance in the body, one particularly lovely for women of a certain age, helping support collagen production as it begins to disappear. There's also one for supporting energy in people who are older or who are sports people, and one for helping support the process of trying to lose weight. And talking of support and losing weight, the last product is a very comprehensive probiotic, pre and probiotic, very strong, very carefully state-of-the-art style manufactured. So these are all things that I won't talk about now, but you can find on my website, or you can contact me if you'd like to know more. This is my website here, bioresonancegb.com, and I'm Delia Rosenboom. So if you'd like to know more, do get in contact. I'm happy to demonstrate or to talk more or to help you work out what your individual needs are. If you'd like to come and have a medically diagnostic bioresonance scan, do get in contact. I have a Greek doctor coming here 4 times a year, and you're welcome to come and have a scan. I also offer non-medically diagnostic health scans that give an indication of your overall health levels, your organ function, your immunity function, your nervous system function, your energy levels, and various indications of different aspects of oneself. So do get in contact if you'd like to know more. Thanks for listening.